guys, welcome back to my channel and welcome to a new dragging video. You guys, let's get started. Let's start off here at the Cartier the Cartier's concession at Selfridges in London. I went to the Selfridges Cartier boutique when it wasn't busy. In fact, it was completely dead. No one approached us. The staff were just sitting around standing. And then the security told me to go to a podium thing. I approached to the podium and I tried to tell the lady and show her my Cartier bangle, which the screw had come loose. She didn't even want to look at it properly, just a mere glance. The reason I went in is because I realized while at London, the screw looked like it needed to be screwed in tighter. I didn't have my Cartier screwdriver on me. I found that she was very rude and very unhelpful. I can understand if the store was busy and I need an appointment, but it was completely dead. So basically she fobbed me off. I know she was judgmental towards me as it was raining heavily and I'd been drenched and I had changed my shoes and coat to fit this weather. If she had bothered to look at my Cartier bangle, she would have seen it was stacked with other Cartier Love bangles and diamonds just on clue. Okay, okay, girl. So there's just on clue with a diamond and a Panther watch. I have a lot of Cartier jewelry and several other watches, all purchased from the Harrods boutique, which give exceptional service. I was fobbed off here. I even asked her once again, can you check? She said she just couldn't be bothered and her body language was giving, please leave. What was worse was during the day, my Cartier bangle did get more loose and in fact opened. I had to slide it off and put it in my bag to avoid losing a £12,000 bracelet. Okay. These are not real problems, lepers. So yeah, basically then she goes on to say, she had a really bad experience, and then here she's like, your staff's lack of interest nearly cost me losing my bracelet. I don't know, which also holds sentimental value as it was an anniversary gift a few years ago. The lack of good service from such a luxury brand set in a department store was really shocking. Due to my job, Selfridges is closer, but I will go back to Harrods. I'm really disappointed in Cartier Selfridges. I don't know, gal. I always get in trouble whenever I film these videos. So many of you always get angry at me saying I take brand side, but they didn't create the problem, babe. You've had the bangle for a long time. She said that she has had it for a while because she'd had it as an anniversary gift, so it meant something to her. Number one, so you've had it for ages, number one. Number two, it's not your store, like your local store where they know you. Number three, you didn't buy anything, and this is the key thing. My view on things like this is you should go to the store where you bought the bracelet, or if it was a gift, go to your local Cartier shop where they know you if you are going in and you're not intending to buy a single thing. Because I think if you have never run a retail business, I think you might underestimate the amount of people who come to shops and don't buy a thing, or the amount of people in a jewelry brand like Cartier's case who are just doing repairs and not buying anything. These businesses exist based on making money. When you're doing a repair, you're not making any money. She is a good client, but there are a lot of people who have dupes of Cartier things just because that isn't, her having Cartier products on her wrist isn't necessarily indicative of anything. We know that Cartier is extremely duped as well. I think maybe what the Cartier employee could have done was pulled up her account and stuff, and definitely maybe been a little bit more willing to help. But honestly, I also understand them kind of being hoping that the person's a client. Imagine you work there, you have targets that you need to hit. You're hoping that someone's walking in as a client and they're just coming in to get something repaired. It does get deflating after a while. So, she should have gone to Harrods. You're singing Harrods praises, honey. Girl, jump on the tube, honey, and go to Harrods. The next one is the Cartier boutique in Fifth Avenue in New York in America. I was truly looking forward to visiting the Cartier boutique on Fifth Avenue with the intention of buying a love necklace. Ooh, a special souvenir to remember my time in New York. Unfortunately, the experience fell far from the standard I experienced. The sales associate seemed disinterested and unmotivated. There was no warm welcome, no refreshments, no thoughtful conversation. Girl, bye. And no attempt to show any alternatives or provide information about the necklace during the try-on. He even spent time on his phone, which felt completely inappropriate and unprofessional. I have to say, I completely disagree with this lady, but then again, you knew that. I felt increasingly uncomfortable and unwelcome, and my partner shared the same impression. The atmosphere was cold and disengaged, not at all reflective of the level of service Cartier is known for. Because of this poor service, I decided not to make the purchase Instead, I'll be buying my love necklace back in Germany, where I've always experienced genuine hospitality. This was not memorable Cartier experience I've hoped for in New York. Look, Cartier is one of my favorite brands. Absolutely love Cartier. The Fifth Avenue mansion, it's an iconic, boutique. It's like one of those Gilded Age mansions and so on and so forth. It's a piece of luxury history. That said, I think sometimes, like, as clients, you shouldn't like overhype something in your head. Like, to you, it's like really, really important to buy something from the Cartier boutique there, or to buy something from Louis Vuitton Champs Elysees. But to the people who work there, it's just their job. They go home to their families at the end of the day. It is just a job. Now, I do think like the person was coming to buy the love necklace. I don't know how much that is. I'm sure it's quite pricey. But at the same time, I don't know if I agree with, oh, they definitely should have been offered water and drinks. So the essay is wrong for that. The essay should make them feel welcome. But I don't agree that the essay should do thoughtful conversation. I am not a fan of small talk in luxury shops. I do not like small talk. I think some of this could be cultural. In my culture here in Tanzania, we don't do small talk. We don't do small talk. It feels very insincere and very fake to me when someone's like pretending to be super nice to you for you to buy something. I'd rather you be like kind to me, welcome me. I know why I'm there. I'm there to buy, the necklace. In this case here, she would be buying the love necklace. I beg your pardon. I don't agree with no thoughtful conversation. I'm here to buy something. She's probably never going to see him again. So he should be nice and pleasant. But I don't mind that kind of formality that is in the French boutiques in Paris. I don't actually mind it. And obviously Cartier was founded in Paris, but it's managed from Switzerland. I quite like that formality. It doesn't particularly bother me. I know some people like small talk. I do not like small talk anyway. So I don't agree with her there. And then another thing, no attempt to show any alternatives or provide information about the necklace. I mean, you're there to buy the love necklace, so why do you need to see alternatives? You could also say, hey, I would like to see this. When I was at the Cartier boutique in the Champs-Elysees last year, I was like, can I see the Justin Clou? Can I see the Pavé love ring? I mean, I'm there to look at things as well. I did buy the love ring, which is here. Today I've decided to wear it next to my engagement ring. Normally I don't like wear anything on my left hand, but today I decided to. I don't know. I don't know. Again, these people who are going to Cartier or going to luxury shops, getting really upset and they're not buying anything, you're not going to ruin my day. I would have bought the necklace and kept it moving. But if you felt really bad, I mean, I don't agree with the thoughtful conversation thing. The person doesn't have to kiss your ass with a fake conversation, but they should be kind, polite, and welcoming. I think you can do that without kissing people's ass and without having like a fake small talk conversation. And then when she's trying on the necklace, she's like, he even spent time on his phone. I mean, what else is he supposed to do? Is he supposed to sit there and look at you like this? I mean, girl, no, don't agree at all. The next one is the Gucci flagship boutique in Paris, Avenue Montaigne. I think this is the first time I've ever featured Gucci in the dragging series. My wife came last night and dealt with S.A.'s name, who was lovely and helpful. But she wanted to claim the tax back and didn't have her passport. You know where this is going, Leopards. So we came back today, and SA number 1 had passed on our details to SA number 2. SA number 2 was very rude, arrogant, unhelpful when my wife asked him to unpack the handbag so she could see it before she bought it. In the end, we walked out without making a purchase. Luckily, 2 doors down was Chloe. She saw a lovely bag and bought that. I'll never for the life of me of doing these dragging videos understand why people do this. You are never going to see that person again. You're probably never going to see the essay again. You told essay number 1 that you were going to come back and buy it so you could get the VAT refund. Essay number 1 is probably going to get credited with the sale of this bag. You're not harming essay number 2. You're harming the nice essay who was really nice to you. I don't understand why clients do this. They're saying he's very rude, arrogant, unhelpful. I don't know, baby. Like, we need to bring the Tupac hologram, and I need to see some of these interaction. Is it again that kind of formal, like, oh, can you unpack the bag from the package so I can see it? Okay, here it is. Oh, you didn't kiss my ass when you unpacked the bag. Girl, bye. They're lucky I don't work in luxury shops. I would have been sacked. I'm telling you right now. Same store, Gucci Paris flagship Avenue Montaigne in France. My husband and I had a terrible experience at this store. Everyone's just really upset today. We were going to dinner and shopping in the area and decided to go to Gucci to look at bags. As soon as we entered, we heard security tell an SA to pay attention to us because we're holding a Louvre bag. And she thought we didn't understand a thing. Unfortunately, we were followed throughout the store, which was very uncomfortable and humiliating. Fortunately, we were able to get good treatment at other places, but we warned the security guards, judge, tourists, and millions of people like us who pay a fortune to be in the city, but they think they're millionaires. Sorry, that's a funny little line there. But they think they're millionaires and have the right to judge people. I think that some of this might be some misunderstandings. This person says that they understand French. If you understand French, then you would probably, I wasn't there, to be fair, but I'm just making an assumption, that if you're listening to them speak French, what he was probably saying was, there are clients who've entered, you should come and help these clients, and they're holding a bag because they have been to the Louvre. That's so that the SA can identify them and so the SA can help them. So this is one of those classic luxury cultural misunderstandings. This is definitely one of those luxury cultural misunderstandings. And even if you understood the person in French, you would understand that they were basically saying, oh, clients have come in and they're holding a bag from the Louvre, can you go help them? That's probably what he meant. A lot of the times, the security guards in a lot of boutiques in Paris are very rude. Oh, that has been my experience, but I always give it to them back, honey, with a little smile on my face. I always tell this story in my dragging videos because there always new people coming to watch these. But I remember many years ago there used to be a MAC store on the Champs-Elysees. There used to be one a long time ago, and looking and trying to take a picture of eyeshadow or some glam. And then the security guard come running over, yelling at me. And I was like, relax. I was like, relax, just relax. Okay, relax, bro, because you're gonna, his eyes were popping out. He looked like he was going to melt down. It's like everyone else is taking pictures, but you have all that energy for me. So don't let these people ruin your day. But in this case, I don't think it's this. I think it's just a misunderstanding, a cultural one. And it might be they misunderstood the way it was said in French, perhaps, because they're supposed to give you one-to-one service, as we know. The next one is the Big H Boutique in Rome, Italy. Utterly vile and distasteful. This boutique is located in a major tourist area and has one of the worst attitudes towards non-locals I've ever encountered. I've already read numerous poor reviews on Reddit and Google mentioning they reserve bags for locals, but I decided to try my luck. I was upfront that I was looking for a Constance. I was fully prepared to build a purchase profile, knowing how Constance is also sort of considered a coach bag these days. It is a coach bag in most countries in Europe. The SA told me there were none available. Fair enough, I still purchased several items for my mum and myself. At checkout, I politely asked a separate question whether there'll be availability in the coming days while I'm still in town. The SA immediately snapped and raised her voice. Quote, I already told you no. Girl, you've been told no, girl. I clarified that I understood there were none today, but I was asked about the next few days. She simply repeated, no. Rudely again, without offering any explanation. No transparency on how it works, no indication, not even basic courtesy. The entire experience felt cold and dismissive. From the start, she was grumpy and unwelcoming. After bringing us upstairs, she rushed through the appointment, telling us to conclude just 20 minutes in because she had another client. We're actually planning to buy a few more items, but felt pressured to wrap up, conclude, and leave. If you're a non-local looking to shop or build a profile, I strongly suggest not even trying in Italy. The store made it clear who they value. I think she also says here, she observed other clients, observed other customers, non-POCs receiving warm and friendly service, proper explanations when rejected, even when they weren't making purchases. It's hard to feel that this treatment wasn't racially motivated. Okay, so I think that there are a few things, and trust me, I've had those really horrible racially motivated experiences in stores, so I feel her on this. But there are a few things I want to mention here. I think that the mistake was made at the beginning when she entered. And like I said, I just want to be very clear. When you have a racially motivated experience, it is horrible. It's really, really, really horrible. And it doesn't feel pleasant. Trust me. Me and my husband have had more than enough for every single person who is subscribed to this channel. I've had too many. I can't even really speak on many of them because they involve me when I'm with my husband, and he's a very private person. So I don't want to talk about something if he's not comfortable with me talking about it. So I do feel for her here. Trust me, I feel for her. But if you actually look at the what happened based on the way she's explaining it, I think the wrong thing to do is to be upfront. I've talked about this before. In Europe, it's more of a dance. It's a waltz. You know, they want to dance. The big HSAs in Europe like to dance around it. It's not a direct situation. I think a lot of people from, perhaps if you're from a different culture where maybe something's a little bit more direct, but I think going straight to being like how she was completely upfront that she wanted to get a Constance. The Constance is a Quota bag in Italy, okay? And the Constance is absolutely going to be seen as a Quota bag for someone who doesn't live there, for sure. Um, you wouldn't go to your home store and walk into your home boutique in your home country and say, I want to buy a Constance today. And we all know that for the glamazons who have home stores. Those of us on the African continent, there's no big H here. So I think first rocking up to the store and being like, I was upfront. They don't like that in Europe. Big HSAs in Europe are they're not overt. They don't like, you know, they don't like it to be straight away, you know? When you think of your first time, no, not that one. Okay. When you think of your first time going to a big H store, were you straight up in your home store or were you chilled out and relaxed? You were probably chilled out and relaxed. Yes, you're a tourist. Yes, you have a time crunch. You're trying to churn a bag that day. But I don't think that she should have said straight away, I'm looking for a Constance. She was ready to build a purchase profile. If you know that, you should have just gone straight. And this person is obviously very knowledgeable about the brand. She knows that there's a game to play. If you know that, you should have just gone straight to shopping the top tier Birkin Bay items. And then, as we know how it works, you then, like ask if there are any bags available. I definitely think before paying for Birkin Bay so that you don't get tricked, because some of these essays might try and trick you. I feel for her, honestly, I do. But in a situation like this, I think the situation in Europe, they don't like when clients are very direct because, as we know, particularly in the European essays, they never want to admit what we know to be true, that there is a game everywhere. And pretty much every country in the world will sell to tourists pretty much for the right Birkin bait price. So the first mistake that was made was being very upfront about wanting the Constance. What she should have done was picked out all the Birkin bait before going to pay, ask if do you have any Constances available? And then, without missing a beat, if it's no, ask, do you have one tomorrow or maybe the next time you get a delivery? I think the next time you get a delivery is better because it sounds less pushy. And this is the boutique in Rome, so they'll probably get deliveries every day. And then here when she's like at checkout, I politely asked a separate question whether there might be a chance of availability in the coming days while I'm in town. The essay snapped and raised her voice and said, I already told you no. Again, some of this is cultural misunderstandings. Some people might see what she did, she sees it as she's being polite, but to the essay, she's coming across pushy. Do you know what I mean? Some of it is cultural, right? I have another casino story for you because I'm always playing cards and playing games. So one time I was at the casino, there were some American tourists who were in town. They were a lot of fun. We were playing on the roulette table together. They were fantastic. But they were trying to tip the croupier. And I was like, because I was already chatting to them. The croupier declined because her supervisor was watching her. They tried to tip her with money. She said no. They tried to give her a chip. She said no. And then I told them, we don't have tipping in this country. And also, in casinos in Tanzania, you do not tip the croupier. They can't accept the money. Jobs are, it's not easy to just go and get a job. And those jobs are very well paid. So you can't just tip the croupier because they can't accept it. And you don't make a scene about it because they're not going to accept the money. So that was an interesting little moment because it showed that like I said, sometimes they're cultural misunderstandings. And then after she declined it, I told them again, like, don't do that. And then they did feel really bad because they felt like, oh my god, I hope we don't get her in trouble. I was like, oh, I'm sure it'll be fine. Anyway, played with them, they left. I was still playing on the table and the croupier left, and then she came back later and I was still on the same table playing my numbers. And we actually chatted about it, and she was like, oh, a lot of tourists from America and Canada don't know that you are not allowed to tip croupiers in Tanzania. And they're not allowed to take tips. Whereas croupiers in the US and Canada expect you to tip them at the casino. So cultural nuance and cultural fluency is very, very, very important. And the ability to understand people's culture and beliefs is really important. The Big H client thought that she was being polite, right? I politely asked a separate question whether there's a chance of availability in the coming days while I'm in town. But to the SA, you're coming across like you're very pushy and like you don't listen. Because she already told you, girl, she doesn't have a conscience for you. Okay? You know, I don't sit on the fence in these episodes. I think that this is unfortunate, but I also think you have to start with Birkin Bay and shopping, and then before going to pay, bring it up. That's how I would do it. I wouldn't go straight. I don't think I would walk into the Rome boutique straight away and say, I would like to buy a Birkin. What should I buy? That doesn't work in Europe. In Europe, baby, you know, they want to see a dance. They want to see a shimmy. They want you to twirl and dance. You know what I mean? They want to see a dance. Like, they don't want you to be very direct about it. And then put in the potential for misunderstandings. Don't forget, the SA is probably from Italy. English might be her second language. There might be some linguistic barriers there, perhaps. You know, one doesn't know. And then to you think you're being really polite. But maybe in another culture, like with the casino example, the American tourist didn't realize in Tanzania, they're not allowed to tip croupiers. And what was worse was they weren't accepting. The first time she said no, they should have accepted that. Don't be pushy, because now you're not listening. And it's only when I explained, which very nicely, that they then felt kind of embarrassed and felt really bad because they were worried they had gotten her in trouble. I was like, oh, don't worry, she's not going to be in trouble, because her supervisors can see that she's already said no to your tips twice. So she's not going to get in trouble. Now, if she had accepted the tips and been caught, yes, she could have been in a lot of trouble. Do you know what I mean? So cultural fluency and understanding is really important. If you're going to play the game, I don't think you should announce that you're going to play the game. I think you should go in there and buy Birkin Bay. I don't think you should be like, I want to buy a Constance. A Constance is definitely a quota bag in most countries in Europe, and I think it is definitely a quota bag in Italy, perhaps for people who are not from Italy, or maybe if your profile isn't very high. Yeah, unfortunate, but not surprising considering the ponytail. This is how the ponytail is. Okay. Hang on. Okay, the next one here is the Big H boutique in Melbourne, in Australia. It's with great shame that I write this review about SA number one, who treated us poorly. He rubbed me the wrong way because he kept on judging us based on our purchase history. He continued to push us to buy items in a slimy way without any genuine thought about what we were actually interested in. He infuriated me, and I think they should escalate SA number one to his managers. I would not develop a relationship with SA number one. It's SA's number one's job to suggest things for you to buy, because that's his job. That's how he pays his bills, and that's actually his job. So I don't really understand when people get angry about, someone gets angry about someone doing their job. Like, oh, he's suggesting for me to buy things that I don't want to buy. That's his job, is to convince you and show you things. So I don't agree with this. I don't know what this person's moaning about. The next one is from the same location, Melbourne, Australia. The most disgusting service. I was served here by SA number one. It's the same person. Same person from the first Melbourne review. And I was asking if they had a product. He explained I needed to have an account, which I already did, and purchase other items before. I told him I did have an account. He could have asked that. They're so snobby. They think they're so superior on a $50,000 salary. They need a reality check. Would rather spend my money elsewhere. Sydney service is far better. He was checking the items I bought first to let me know if it was possible to get the picotin. And then he told me he has to check things before letting me know if it's available. These retail workers are really rude, disgusting, disgusting, disgusting. Like that. I'd rather give my money to any big H store in the world but this one. I'm shocked he's allowed to talk to people. Sorry. This guy is essay number one's been mentioned by a lot of people. I would like to do like I think I need to do like a video, like an anonymous video talking to like a big H essay. And then maybe we can have like an anonymous recording or something. I can post it because some of the people who are mentioned in multiple reviews, I feel like they're either incredibly rude or they're misunderstood. Yeah, he's going to have to check your account before you can give your pick a time. But I do not support how rude this person clearly is. He's obviously rude. Okay, there's no smoke without fire. But asking her, do you have an account? Let me check to see what you picked up before I give you the pick or time. Oh my gosh. The next one is the Melbourne Big H boutique in Australia. I can now see why this store has 3.8 stars with so many negative reviews after building a relationship over 2 years and tens of thousands of dollars spent. I asked my SA if he had any updates on a mini Kelly. He replies after 3 days with, quote, I have an update on your wish list. I'd love for you to be my very first client of the year. Please come in. We were traveling that morning, so we couldn't make it. When we checked in again, he said to come in. After 15 minutes of small talk and showing us items we weren't interested in again, he said, quote, we have nothing available, but I asked you to come in to update your wish list. And then she's like, how many bloody times do you need to update your wish list? This is absolutely disgusting behavior by essay number one from the other 2 reviews, which has so many negative reviews on here, but Big H does nothing about it. I understand this is a game we play, but after 2 years and much money spent, you'd expect to receive the item you want. Essay number one's behavior is the epitome of what's wrong in the industry. They keep forcing items on you, tell you need to work with them, and so that they can recommend you, obviously, to the manager. I won't be dealing with the store again due to the lack of customer service and the disappointment by essay number one. Essay number one, you need to churn bags for the girls, honey, so that they can stop complaining about you online. It's a tough one because in situations like this, there are a lot of these, particularly big H essays, who trick clients. I've talked about this many times, like I've said, so many times. It has happened to me. So when I, just cracking jokes, whatever, don't take it like I'm laughing at them. I am not. I have been tricked many times. Big H essays do this where they trick you. Essay number one at the boutique in Melbourne, you are tricking clients, okay? And he, definitely tricked her. Someone who spent tens of thousands deserves their mini Kelly. And you are not trying to churn a bag. You are supposed to churn a bag for the person, not trying to get them to keep buying. Eventually, you're going to need to churn a bag. So yeah, I can see how this is very disappointing. And the fact is, people keep mentioning this particular individual's name. So obviously, people are very unhappy with him. The final review is from the Big H boutique in Melbourne, Australia. I was served by a gentleman who was borderline hostile upon entering the store. I inquired about viewing their business bags. I was told that Hermes does not have business bags of any kind. I believe that these are like the men's like briefcases is what the gentleman means. I pointed to the wall full of bags behind the man and asked what about those. He was dismissive. If you do not like your job, why make everyone's life miserable? Big H should really review their customer feedback. This isn't the first time this has happened. This is just one of those things where it's like, I don't really understand why the person would be rude for the like men's bags, because big HSAs do get commissions in most countries, not all, in most countries for selling the men's bags because they're very expensive and they're a tough sell. If you think of like the men's bags, there's some really great options at Louis Vuitton, so they're not an easy sell at all. So you think of like the Kelly Depeche, the Haute Couture, those are, they're very beautiful bags and many people like them, but they are very expensive and it's not, that they're a tougher sell basically. So they should be happy that someone has come in to try and purchase them. So being very rude about it, I don't agree. I think sometimes like Big H, like they want you to know that the bags on display are not for sale. Not everyone knows that. Like my husband would definitely be like, oh, I like that briefcase, can I buy it? And they'll be like, oh, you asked to buy something that's on display. I mean, he'd be like, who gives a toss? How am I supposed to know that? Do you know what I mean? Sorry, that wasn't the final review. This is the final review. Okay, the final review um, is I had a disappointing experience with SA number one at the Big H Boutique in Melbourne, Australia. After I declined to purchase the item he suggested, he completely ignored my subsequent request. This lack of professionalism and care is unacceptable. I hope this issue is addressed. SA number one, honey, you are making the girls upset. I definitely have to say that if there's an SA who's like really like pushing you to like buy Birkin but not churning a bag, you're probably gonna have to move on and maybe like if you feel like the bag isn't forthcoming, you might have to move on. You might have to stick it out, get the bag, and then move on. Because there are, like I said, some of these essays who trick clients. They can trick you and they can be like, oh yeah, I'm going to make this happen for you. It's the same thing that happened to me in Paris a few years ago with the Sevres essay 17. She was like, yeah, take my email. When you're in town, we'll make an appointment and you'll have an appointment with me. You can purchase all your things with me. I'm in town the next time. I send the email. It's crickets. Never hear from her again. She's still working at Big H. The previous trip with my cousin, I saw her, and she's still there. That was from last year. As she saw me, she completely blanked me. You know what I mean? So they do trick people, and this essay in the Melbourne boutique is probably tricking clients and just playing games and pulling the wool over their eyes. It's not pleasant. It's not right. I do not agree with that at all. What do you think about today's dragging video? What were your favorite segments of like which locations do you think were the most interesting? What do you think of the stories from Cartier, from Gucci, and from Big H? What were your views? Guys, I really hope you have enjoyed today's dragging video. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Turn on notifications, like the video. Sign up for the newsletter, you guys. I've just relaunched it. If you haven't signed up already, sign up below because it's been relaunched on a new platform. I'm very excited about the future of the newsletter. I'd love to have you there. And also follow me on Instagram and TikTok as well. And my Facebook page is also linked below. God bless you all, and I'll see you very soon in my next video.